I'm making a change today. The liquor been taking the pain away. I heard you was giving your chain away. That's kind of like giving your fame away. What's wrong with you? I sit in a box with our owners.
Yo, what's up, broskiis? Coming at you with a nice little new deck profile. It's actually pretty new to the channel as well. As you can see, this is Ghoti, the fish archetype. I have played like this before as a small engine within my mutant deck way back. Probably has been at least a year since I did that. But now I'm playing it in its pure form, thanks to some recently, well, not recently, but more recently, sorry about that, released cards, like the cards out of the Darkwing Blast, like Sinopus, and then the Exeep or whatever card. So this is a pure variant, or water variant, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to get into it. Before I do, like the video, if you like the video, comment down below what you would change. Because there's quite a few different ways to run this deck for sure. Oh, shout out Calm Weather Grave. Comment what you would change. Subscribe to the channel because we're still trying to get to 1K. We're, you know, slow down. We're busy, but we're back at it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. First up, triple Paces Light of the Ghoti. Terrific card. Basically, you just banish this card, special summon one of your special one fish monster from your hand. And if this card is banished, it comes back on the standby phase. And if it comes back during standby phase, quick effect during the main phase, you can use it to synchro summon. This is pretty much like this deck is really crazy at like generating that like never-ending like resource loop. Not never-ending, but it almost seems like it. So as long as you have like a couple fish to like keep in rotation, you can always like stay in the game, which is what I really like. It's not gonna make any like explosive like 6-7 negate boards or interruption boards like first turn, but it does quite a bit on your opponent's turn to keep them from comboing off, and then by the time like it gets back to your turn, just on their turn alone, you've generated so much resource advantage. And then I play 2 Shift. So this one you can banish from the graveyard, then target one fish monster you control it gains 500 attack until the end of the turn. So this is like the most basic of like combos pretty much. Like if you use your lifeless leaf fish, of course, foolish barrel this out and then target that, give it 500. This will come back on your opponent's turn because it's the same thing as Paces, a quick effect synchro summon. So that's like a super easy 1-card combo. Just that little pump, it gets in rotation to banish it. Next up is Zep. This is a little bit newer, not really that new because it came out of Darkwing Blast. It's been a little while since that set came out. But you can banish this card from your hand, then target one fish monster in your graveyard, banish it. So if you're hitting this and like a Paces or a fish, for example, or Chef, I mean, you'll have this and the other one come back on standby phase basically. And then during your opponent's turn, if this card is banished, you can special summon it. If this card is special summon, you can accept during the damage step, of course, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon one fish synchro monster using this card you control. So like I said, keep banishing these. They keep spamming back out. I know one time, like it was like turn 3 or so, I didn't have space for all of them to return because I had like 2 or 3 synchros aboard, or maybe I had like a stealth kraken. I clogged myself up because I didn't use the extra monster zone, but I had 3 of these returning and I only had space for 2, so it does get pretty crazy. Next up, double Snopios, Shade of the Ghoti. I've wanted to play this card at 3. I might test it at 3 before I go to our next, the next event we're going to is like a 3v3 in Georgia. So shout out to, I don't even know what the fuck, I'll put the name of the place we're going to in the description. I'll even put the date, fuck it. But some 3v3 we're going to, I might test this at 3. But basically during the main phase, quick effect, you banish 2 fish monsters from your hand and or graveyard. I wish it was like the fill 2, but then that would just be like too easy to set up. And then special summon this card from your hand, and if this is special summon, you can target one face-up card on the field, banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is banished, you can banish one fish monster from your graveyard, add this card to your hand. So it's that infinite resource loop, like I said. Exeep, Omen of the Ghoti. This one's like not the great one, like, but this is like this is definitely like an extension in your hand, because if a fish monster is banished except during the damage step, you can spell summon this card from your hand, and then during the standby phase of the next turn, after this card is banished, you can target one of your Ghoti traps. I don't run any of the traps as banished, or in your graveyard, set that target. You know, basically you can use this like as a setup for like, you know, paces, like summon something, since it was banished, bring out Omen, you have like a free 4, pretty much it. But that's all the Ghotis, the main deck Ghotis I'm running. I believe this deck is at 42. Next up, Abyss Shark, pretty standard to run. I think most people are running 2 or 3. I think I'm gonna cut this one down to 2. Just kind of, it feels like a little, I don't know, it feels a little much. One game, and I don't know how I survived, but I opened up 3 of these, all 3 of these game 1, and 2 of the field spells. So in a 5-card hand, I opened up those 3, and then 2 field spell, and then I opened up like a Called by the Grave or something like that. No. So I went first, so I opened up 3 and then 2 of the field spell. So what I did was I used the field spell to banish one of these out of my hand, to go grab a Paces, I believe. I think I grabbed Paces, and then I banished the Paces to special summon the other shark. And then since I had a shark, I had control of water, I special summoned the other shark, and I went into like Stealth Kragen or something like that. I forgot. It was a lot of bullshit, but that's, I don't know. I don't know about 3 of these. I run 3 right now. 2 Silent Angler. You search it off your Abyss Shark. This is gonna always be the last card you special summon out of your hand, because once you special summon this, you can't special summon from your hand for the rest of the turn. But it's a nice little level 4. Just be mindful of that. You don't want to like do it super early, and then you just kind of stuck. Yeah. Next up for our standard, like, you know, collection of fish monsters, Lifeless Leaf Fish. This card's pretty nuts. If this card is summoned, you can just send 1 fish monster. This is like the 1-card combo I'm talking about. If you played this deck in any capacity, you already know it. You just normal summon the Leaf Fish, send shift, and then shift target, and then you have like an easy 6 on your opponent's turn. But yeah, like I said, you can send 1 fish monster from your deck to the graveyard, except itself. You can also banish this card from your graveyard, then target 3 fish monsters in your graveyard, shuffle those monsters into the deck, and then draw 1 card. So it helps get some cards back in rotation, maybe extra deck monsters, things of that sort. Next up, Beautiful Princess. This card is a nice little card. We got a pretty nice reprint in the Maven set. When this card is normal or special summon, you can banish this card, special summon 1 of your level 4 or lower fish monsters from your deck. So literally tutors into anything you need. Then next up, 3 of the Minaruka, whatever it's called. This is also just like another water extender, easy level 4 to get on the field. When a water monster's effect is activated, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can banish 1 face-up fish monster, sea serpent or aqua monster you control, then target 1 face-up card on the field. Negate its effects until the end of the turn. Nice card to keep like extending through things. That's all of our, I guess you would call this generic water support. And the last like little engine, which I think is pretty standard at this point if you've been playing this deck, is 3 Supe, Duskwalker, and 1 Supe. Free special summon, bring out Supe, and then you got your easy Synchro 6 play, which I only will run 1/6. Not as creative as some people, but the extra deck is like kind of tight. I don't know, whatever. Now for hand traps, currently post Banlist, I'm gonna run 3 Ash in the main, and I don't know if I want to main deck Droll just yet, but these are the only hand traps I'm maining. Triple Ash, triple Imperm. That's it for the hand traps. It's literally all. Then for my spells, I'm running 2 Ready Fusion, and then 1 instant fusion. This is obviously this is the lineup, standard lineup. Helps you get into your fish fusion, the extra deck cards, stuff like that. And then 3 of the most distant, deepest depths. When I was playing this as an engine inside of with the mutants, and I thought this card was like just a trash ass field spell. I was like, man, this card's terrible, but it's actually not that bad. It really like unlocks your hand sometimes. While you control a fish synchro monster, this card cannot be destroyed or banished by card effects. You can only use each of the following effects of the most distant, deepest depths once per turn. You can banish 1 fish monster from your hand or graveyard, so that automatically puts one of your Ghotis online for them to return during the standby phase. And then you add 1 Ghoti monster from your deck to your hand. And then if a fish monster is normal or special summon to your field while this card is in the graveyard, you can target 1 fish monster you control, banish it, and if you do, add this card to your hand. So it recurs itself in a way. Well, not in a way. It definitely recurs itself. It gets your fish online to come back, which is incredible. And it does a lot for the deck. Like I was saying like earlier in the profile, when I opened up like 3 Abyss Shark, like it helped me like play through like one of the most god awful hands like I've ever seen. Open up 2 of itself and 3 Abyss Shark. You typically can't play through that unless like they just, and most people aren't gonna like answer to that. And like once I had it online, it was online. So, and then 1 Crossout Designator. And then 1 Called by the Grave. Crossout Designator is like a nice little like combo starter. Get your, you can like banish your pastes or something like that, and it'll come back. Or like of course can eat a hand trap if you have to. But this card unlocks your hand also. Called by the Grave, of course, like just ensures your plays go through. I think the deck is currently at 42 cards. There's a couple cards like I'm thinking about adding. But it's super tight right now, so I don't really know. Now for the extra deck. I took a little long on the main deck, but I feel like there's a lot of cards to explain. Best Keeper, this is out to like a lot of this is out to some cards. The little banishing a card, pretty nice. It does special summon 1 fish monster from your hand to your zone this card points to. It does like a good bit. And this is like the only link monster I run in the deck. Next up, 2 Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. I would say this is like your win con, but it's really not. Like sometimes I kill people without this thing even like hitting the board, just because there's so many other options. Sometimes like in the course of the game, you can choose to like keep generating advantage, or you can just choose to completely like blow them out, like bring back like a 5k beater or something like that. But Ghoti of the Deep Beyond, usually I don't go into this unless like it's like the last resort. And I need to get like my printings together, because like I think one of them's like a Euro print, so it's a little bit darker. I like that darker look. But enough about that one. 2 Ascan, the Bicorn Ghoti. This card is pretty insane. If it's Synchro Summon, you can target 1 fish monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls, banish them, so just you get a problem out of the way. If this card is banished, you can banish 1 fish monster from your graveyard, special summon this card. So once again, you can banish it. Like, so I was playing Assessing against Kane, and he had a Chinging on the field. I banished itself, I banished Chinging, and then when this card was banished, I banished like the pastes that I used to synchro summon it. So pastes was going to return during my standby phase, and then he was back on the field. So once again, it was another problem to deal with. But it's a nice card. It's one of the better ones. Arion Post, Serpent of the Ghoti. This is like what you're going into like right off the rip most of the time. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can banish 1 level 6 or lower fish monster from your deck. A lot of times I'm getting like Sinopus, or whatever his name is, in rotation, the level 6. But if this card is sent to the graveyard synchro material, you can target 1 fish monster you and your graveyard, banish that target. Once again, get those tuners back online. It's just pretty crazy. Then you can add 1 fish monster with an equal or lower level from your deck to your hand. A lot of times on that, the one I'm adding, I might banish like a level 2 tuner, And then I'll add like a Zep Ruby of the Ghoti, because I can just straight up banish that one from my hand. No one runs this card, but the Googlim Spear of the Ghoti. I have not seen anybody like run this card, but it's kind of interesting. So at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can just banish that opponent's monster. No targeting, anything like that, just banish it. And then during your opponent's standby phase, you can banish this card. Then if the monster uses material for this card's Synchro summon are all in the graveyard, you can special summon all of them, but banish them when they leave the field, which is actually no worries at all, because if you were to bring back like a tuner, because this is level 8, so if you were to bring back like a tuner and a Synchro, for example, those come back, and then when you Synchro up again, the tuner will be banished, and then it'll be back online. So this does out some things. And then for generic 10, one Sword Soul, Supreme Sovereign, Chinging, gets pretty big in this deck because you banish quite a bit. One Dragite, super easy to go into level 8. Never really go into it unless I'm going just for like a, unless I've generated like so much advantage, like it just feels nuts. Like one time I finished someone off with like, I had like an Ascan on field, Ascan, Dragite, and then a Crystal Wing on field. And that's just overkill. Like the game was pretty much over. I was just trying to style a little bit. Crystal Wing is super easy to go into because it only requires one tuner and one non-tuner Synchro monster. So a lot of times, if Ariana Post survives and you're going back to your turn, you can really pop off because you can just, if you have like a Paces or something returning, you could just return it, Synchro up because that's 8, and then Crystal Wing, and then you can just keep comboing, just depending on the contents of your hand. If you go like Lifeless Leaf Fish, sky's the limit. Or if you have like the big level 6, it's just pretty crazy like what this deck can do. And then for the Xyz, one Stealth Kraken, turns everything into a water. Its pop burns them a little bit. It can float into Stealth Kraken Spawn, which is another. You can also, so once returned during the main phase, quick fate, you ensure one water monster your opponent controls if this card is special summoned by the effect. It basically floats into another one, so it's pretty nice. I'll probably actually just cut this one for like a whole nother. I'll probably cut this one for like a Synchro because I don't have Baron in here because it's in like one of my other decks. And I was either thinking about cutting like the Deep Beyond to 1. But I'll probably just get rid of the Spawn like altogether, and put my Baron in place of here. But if you don't have Baron, that's like a nice little spot. It's just mine is like in another deck right now. And then Rare Fish, is just combo starter. And then Alvian, the Essence of Vanity is the other like starter. So that's pretty much it. This is a deck that I have like thoroughly been enjoying playing. And like now post Banlist, I feel like it opens up the door for like a lot of like different strategies. Not saying like this will be like a tier 1 meta threat in any like, you know, sense of the word, but I think if you learn how to pilot it, if you play it consistently, it's pretty cheap. You play it consistently, you learn how to pilot it, and you just test. You can do, you probably do a lot of things with this deck. I've seen worse decks make it further. But that's pretty much it for this. Remember, please like the video if you like these type of videos. Comment down below, because we love the rogue decks around here. So comment down below for that. Comment down below what you would change, and subscribe to the channel because we're almost to 1K and we're doing like huge giveaways at that milestone. So we'll see you next time, broskies.